Good evening, everyone. We are delighted that you found us here at the auditorium and decided to come join us. We'd like to be out at the park, but Mother Nature, as usual this year, is having a little bit different idea. So here we are. We are so happy, though, that we do have this wonderful place to continue with our concerts and play some music for you guys. Tonight, I'm kind of excited for one reason, because each week we feature a different section of the band, and this week it is that whole back row, which is the row I sit in. So hey, all right. Although my favorite song we are playing tonight, but it's not one of the ones that we're featuring tonight. So try to guess which one you think I like the most. Tonight our MC is going to be Sue Brodeen. She is the assistant manager here at the auditorium. So we're getting her roped in here and getting her part of the swing of things. And then for our intermission feature, we're going to have a flute trio. Laura Stover, Chris Stewart, and Dia Klumper. So we're looking forward to listening to them. I heard them warming up a little bit. Oh, and I forgot, Darlene Rautenkrantz is on the piano. She's saying I didn't need to say that, but too bad I already did. I was listening to them warm up a little earlier, and we're in for a treat. They just sound awesome. So tonight is a special concert for us. We unfortunately did lose two of our members earlier this year, long-term members. Karen Molitor was over in the clarinet section for a long, long time, and Terry Morrison was in our trumpet section for a long, long time. So one of the things we like to do as a band is just honor the memory of those folks that aren't with us anymore. So you will notice, I hope, over in the clarinet section, we have an empty chair with a white rose and a clarinet on it. And then over here in the trumpet section, we also have an empty chair with a trumpet and a white rose. And those are for Terry and for Karen. So we're hoping that they are watching down and listening to what we play, and I'll try not to play too many bad notes for them tonight. But someone handed me something earlier today, just some memories that they would like us to share. So this is the first one in regards to Terry. And it said, I loved Terry's free spirit, yet focus and attentiveness to the sometimes very challenging music in orchestra. I also appreciated that he played loud and proud, even if he was uncertain of his part. That is how he lived his life as well. Not afraid to be himself. He will be greatly missed, but hope he's catching a big one in heaven. And then another one, also for Terry. As trumpeters, we join in this honor for Terry Morrison today. We miss his talent, and we miss his out-there attitude. He was never afraid to take the high road with the high notes and hit them hard. Above all, we miss his attitude of kindness and acceptance for each of us. This character also showed in his respect for his country and honoring those who sacrificed their lives by sharing taps with the honor guard whenever needed. It's this attitude that we loved, of Christ-mindedness and grace topped off with a twinkle in his eye and a genuine smile. We salute him and his memory today. And then we also have one for Karen here. We honor Karen Molitor publicly for her sharing of her time and talent with the amazing Worthington City Band right there in the clarinet section. She had a heart for this community and loved her musical connection to make others feel valued and happy. Thanks, Karen. And just a quick note, a couple weeks ago, I think it was, when Jan Lowe was the MC, she had mentioned how Karen gave swimming lessons at Chautauqua Park there, right behind the band shell. And she hadn't been able to play with us for a few years before she passed, but she had played for a long, long time, and I know she loved being in the group. Terry also played in the Worthington Area Symphony Orchestra, and as mentioned here, he did play taps for a lot of funerals, so you probably have seen both of them over the years in one, sharing their talents with music in one way or another. So With that, I will shut up and go sit back down in my chair, and I'll turn it over to Sue. Thanks.
Good evening. My name is Sue Brodeen, and most of you probably don't know me, so I thought I'd introduce myself a little more. I am the assistant to the managing director of the auditorium here. I am also the vice president of the Friends of the Auditorium. And so with that, I'd like to make a little plug about our next season coming up. We have some announcements. First of all, this Thursday, which is tomorrow night, we have an event happening here at the auditorium. It's free, and it's part of the International Festival. We're going to be having a drum circle from 5:30 to 6. Drumming circle with artists coming in, playing their drums, encouraging people to enjoy music that way. Then there will be a small hour-long social hour with international food samples out in the lobby. And at 7 p.m., we will be showing a film, He Named Me Malala, followed by a discussion panel. Now, this will all be free. He Named Me Malala is a wonderful documentary about, as you can see, Afghanistan and what has happened culturally to women in that part of the country. So I encourage you to come. Once again, it's all free. It should be a great event. Now, as far as our upcoming season, I know a lot of people have been very excited about what we're going to bring in. We're looking at starting out the season with Parrot Head Paradise. It's the music of Jimmy Buffett. So if you want to hang on to that summer feeling just a little longer, you're going to definitely want to grab your flip-flops and come and see this show. We're also pleased to announce that Molly B will be returning for an Oktoberfest polka party. So everybody grab your lederhosen and we'll have some good old fun with Molly B. For the end of October, we are going to be having the Selena Experience. It's a tribute to the music of Selena, which follows up with our, I'm going to mispronounce this, Day of the Dead celebration. I'm not going to try and pronounce it because I'll say it wrong. But we have a week-long celebration. We have an artist coming in, doing a puppet show, and then that over the night of the first is the Selena Tribute Show. We're also going to be having Davina and the Vagabonds. They're a jazzy concert band group. They'll be coming in for the holiday show. We are looking at having a winter dance party, the #1 official tribute to Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper. An afternoon with Groucho, if you want to come and see a theatrical piece. It's a very good show with Frank Ferrante, and he brings Groucho to life. It's fun to see. We're having a wild baby boomer romp by the Seinfeld comedy writer Pat Hazel for the Wonder Bread years, reminiscing about growing up in the 60s. Songs from Laurel Canyon with hits from Joni Mitchell, Crosby, Stills and Nash, and Young, the Beach Boys, Carole King, the Doors, the Byrds, and the Mamas and the Papas. And then for the family, we'll be having Puppy Pals Live closing out our season. So if you have young children, grandkids, you want to do something as a family, that's an event for you. Our box office will be opening July 22nd, members only on that date. So you get special treatment as members. So come in, get your tickets, get your season passes, whatever you want. If you're a member, July 22nd. General public can purchase their tickets at our box office on July 29th. Okay, enough with the business. Let's get down to some music. Welcome to another Wednesday night City Band concert. Tonight's concert begins with a tune that features a section of our city band. The Trombones Triumphant March was composed by Don Keller. He played the trombone, and as you can guess from the title, the piece includes a prominent trombone melody. This piece was completed in 1940 just in time for the American military bands to add it to their concert repertoires in the US and then to play it internationally during World War II. This march's popularity caused Keller to compose 3 more marches featuring trombones in the 1940s. Enjoy the march, Trombones Triumphant. So I have a confession to make. I am a recovering musical theater performer. I was a professional actor for the first half of my life before coming to Worthington. I've toured nationally, and I've worked on and off stage in all aspects of the production, from lighting to props, costuming, sound. My son is looking terrified back there. You knew this. So this next piece is really special to my heart. A lot of directors can be very demanding on what they want on stage, and I'm sure you can guess that from some of the big spectacle shows you see on Broadway. I've had directors who've wanted to have live elephants on stage with the actors. I've dealt with directors who want actors to be up in the air, spinning around on hula hoops in the air, performing gymnastic maneuvers. I've also done a show where we were in an outdoor amphitheater in Utah, where we had an actual flood pumping thousands of gallons of water across the stage for the effect of the story. Spectacle is really a wonderful thing. It takes you into the moment, and it can really add that wow factor. One of the biggest spectacles was Phantom of the Opera. What do Cats, Joseph, Evita, and Jesus Christ Superstar have in common? They are all characters in Broadway musicals composed by the renowned musical composer Andrew Lloyd Webber. In 1984, Webber wanted to compose a new musical score, so he contacted producer Cameron McIntosh, with a proposal for a new musical based on a 1910 novel titled The Phantom of the Opera, written by Gaston Leroux. First performed in 1986, it was a huge success. It became the most financially successful entertainment event until The Lion King surpassed it in 2014. We hope you enjoy this medley of music, including favorite tunes of Think of Me, All I Ask of You, Music of the Night, Angel of Music, and the iconic Phantom of the Opera opening theme. So I spent most of my life in city environments. I grew up in Fargo, North Dakota. I then moved to Minneapolis to base as my home base for when I was working in the theater and touring. And then we came here. We came to southwestern Minnesota. And when my husband Mark announced that he had accepted a position as the technical director here at the Memorial Auditorium, and we decided to move back to the family farm that he grew up on, I knew it was going to be a change. It was going to be a new challenge. At that time, I was already a stay-at-home mom for my son, and I was coming here to also take on the full-time caregiver responsibilities for my husband's parents to help them. They were aging. It's a common thing these days. People help their parents. And I wondered, what else do I have to bring to this part of the state? I was pleasantly surprised when I realized the support of and thriving arts community in Worthington. You are all so fortunate to have these opportunities to see live bands, orchestras, having award-winning marching bands, having your children perform on a professional stage where professionals tour in and out and do their shows. This is not a common thing. This is wonderful. So I feel drawn to Worthington. I keep feeling more of my life being pulled here. Now I work here. My husband works here. My son goes to Worthington High School. And it seems to be a place where we feel welcome. It's a wonderful place you have here in Worthington. So, with that said, we're going to go on to our next musical number. Fred Allen based his 1992 composition, When the Stars Begin to Fall, on the 19th century African-American spiritual, My Lord, What a Morning. The composer uses chords to create complex harmonies to emphasize longing for the end of a time where there will be no pain or sorrow. The last line of the refrain serves as the title for the piece. In addition to composing, Allen plays a variety of woodwind instruments, including the clarinet, the flute, and the piccolo, and has performed at Opryland, the Ice Capades, and the Ringling Brothers Circus. Enjoy When the Stars Begin to Fall, dedicated to Doris Allen, the composer's mother. So speaking of mothers, my mother-in-law told me a joke this morning. What do you call a cow that gives no milk? A milk dud. Thank you. Oh, no, she laughed so hard at that she could barely get the joke out for me. So, as I said, I grew up in Fargo, and in Fargo, North Dakota, there is a little old historical theater called the Fargo Theater, and it's a gorgeous, gorgeous space. The Historical Society there has put money in to maintain it, upkeep it, keep it looking beautiful. It has beautiful draperies, furniture, and it's almost a museum in when you walk in. But I remember going there when I was a young girl, and there was an organist. She was a beautiful lady. She'd always be dressed to the nines, and she would come up on a lift before the show, playing the wonderful Wurlitzer and playing these elaborate organ numbers that were just amazing and thrilling and funny, and you'd laugh and you'd have a good time. And then as the show started and the lights began to dim, she'd go down on her lift. And, for me, a little girl, that was one of the coolest things in the world to see, Forget about all the exciting things happening on the film. This was real life. That theater was a very special place to me. That was the first place I saw The Wizard of Oz on the big screen, playing and having her play that music and then feel the Wizard of Oz experience for the first time, the way it was originally felt by a lot of young children. It was very exciting. Well, in this theater, there was a group that would come in called the Fargo Big Band All-Stars. They were a musical group that frequently performed there, and they had quite a draw. And one gentleman in that band was by the name of James Ployhar. The next number is Sourwood Hoedown. That's a mouthful. Sourwood Hoedown, and was written by James Ployhar, one of the most prolific writers in the field of music education. Ployhar was from Valley City, North Dakota, and went to a college in Fargo. He taught 19 years in the public schools and was enthusiastically welcomed throughout the United States and Canada as a clinician and conductor. Tonight's piece, Sourwood Hoedown, was adapted from a traditional Appalachian folk tune, Sourwood Mountain. Sourwood trees feature making urn-shaped white flower clusters with leaves that turn crimson red in the fall. They're also known for their sourwood honey. So tap your toe to Ployhar's lively tune, Sourwood Hoedown. Wow. I love that click-clock of the wood block and the, was that a wood block back there you were playing? Yes. Yeah, that's so fun. Makes me want to get up and clog, if I knew how to clog. Anybody here know how to clog? It's like tap dancing, only Appalachian? No? Tammy, do you know how to clog? Of course. All right. Well, we are moving into our intermission. And our intermission entertainment this evening is a flute trio of Dee Klumper, Chris Stewart, and Laura Stover. So please welcome them to the stage.
And Darlene Rautenkrantz is joining us on the keyboard. So we have 3 songs that we're going to play for you tonight, and 2 of them are worship songs. The first one is just to gather us all together, and our second piece is celebrating the season, and it's not Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, but it's the song Summertime from Porgy and Bess, and then our final song will be Blessed Be Your Name. And now enjoy Summertime.
Okay, everybody, it's the moment you've all been waiting for. And I'm talking about you, mister, in the blue shirt. It's the Candy March. It's not? Nobody told me. I'm so sorry. No candy while we're inside, so see me after, I'll find you something. Okay, our next selection features another section of the band. This time it's the lower brass instruments, which includes the basses or tubas, written in the style of a circus march. Them Basses was composed in 1924 by G.H. Huffin. Huffin, we'll say Huffin. He was a self-taught professional trombone and tuba player in circus and concert bands. Interesting, this march was played at Huffin's gravesite during his funeral service by his band. Listen to our amazing low brass section in the march, Them Basses. Oh, I feel so bad. I got your hopes up for a piece of candy. I'm sorry. Okay. Anyway, we'll figure it out. Oh, how many people here love Minnesota? Anybody? Yeah! You know, in all of my travels, Minnesota is my favorite state. I love Minnesota. I spent a few weeks in New York rehearsing a show. It was cold, drizzly, snowing, just, subways were dark, damp. It was great. It was great to be in New York, but it wasn't for me. So I also spent some time in Florida. Hey, you think Florida, sun and fun, and no, it's humid there. You think we've got humidity bad. Florida is horrible. I spent time in beautiful sunny Utah. It never rained. Blue skies and sunny every day. It was dry, it was dusty. Sure, it's a nice place to visit, but can you imagine 9 months of waking up to the exact same weather every day? How are you going to know? I mean, how are you going to know the passage of time? So I love Minnesota. When I came back home, I actually exhaled coming back to the green prairie, to the seeing the large lakes and the farmland and the fresh air, and it was just wonderful. It was a release for me. It's a place in Minnesota, it's a place where you can truly experience all 4 seasons. Almost winter, winter, still winter, and construction season. You got it all here. It's the land full of down-home good people, hot dish, lefse, lakes, fishing, cabins. It's got it all here. Because when you come to Minnesota, you come for the culture, but you stay because your car won't start. All right, our next song is another show tune. I'm pretty sure it's a show tune. Hold on a minute. It is. Which one are we at? It is not a show tune. See, they want me to speak off the cuff and I get all lost. Okay, this one is another beautiful song, not a show tune though, called Cumberland Cross. We have Cumberland Cross, created by Carl Stroman in 1995. Not only is Stroman a well-known composer with over 70 pieces, but he was a professor for orchestration, composition, and arrangement at Long Island University in New York. Earlier in the season, you may have enjoyed Stroman's songs Sundance, Eagle Lake March, and Afton Variations. Tonight's composition also has a broad, moving American folk harmonies, followed by a lively dance reminiscent of Copeland. Please enjoy one of our Stroman favorites, the beautiful and exciting Cumberland Cross. Another great thing Minnesota has, and forgive me for saying it, but the Minnesota Lottery. Does anybody here ever break down and buy a ticket? I do. My husband loves the Minnesota Lottery. So one thing we do is we'll buy our $2 ticket, and that's our entertainment for the night. And we'll sit around and play the If I Had $1 Million game, talking about all the wonderful things we'd want to do or buy or do for families and friends if we won the lottery. And we spend a lot of time doing that. It's actually a lot of fun to think about it, and it's really cheap entertainment for $2 to get a couple hours of dreaming and anticipation. And then we never check the numbers. The ticket goes in a drawer, and there it is, so it doesn't go any further than that. Well, it reminds me of a character in a musical I saw when I was a child at the Chanhassen Dinner Theaters. Has anybody been to the Chanhassen? Yeah, beautiful space, isn't it? This was, not to date myself, back in the day when they didn't have age restrictions and on their audience members. And I was maybe 4 or 5 years old, and I was very tiny, very tiny. And my grandparents, who also really believed in supporting the arts and introducing arts and culture to their grandchildren, would take us once a year to the Chanhassen Dinner Theater. We'd pack up, drive all the way from Fargo. We'd stay at a nice little hotel, and that was a big event for I believe it was my grandmother's birthday. Anyway, this show that they were doing was Fiddler on the Roof. Now, I was a really tiny kid. Nobody thought I'd pay attention. I couldn't see the stage, so we were in a booth. They'd pick me up, plop me down on the top of the booth, standing looking over everybody. The lights go down, and I was mesmerized. I didn't move a muscle for the entire production. So I think of that, and I think about If I Had $1 Million. And I think about a character, Tevye, from Fiddler on the Roof. The next song is a show tune from Fiddler on the Roof, written by Sheldon Harnick and Jerry Bach in 1964. It was based on Yiddish author Shalom Achlem's short stories about Tevye, the dairyman. In the musical, the main character, Tevye, performs If I Were a Rich Man, dreaming of what wealth would bring him and his wife instead of what little he has earned as a lowly milkman in a Russian village. Bach was inspired to write the tune after he heard a mother and daughter perform a Jewish Hasidic chant. We encourage you to imagine what your life could be like with the song, If I Were a Rich Man. So, this is my last chance to talk to you tonight. I know some of you may be relieved. But I'd like to just say one more time that this is such a great community for the arts. Live music, live theater, opportunities for your children. The arts help your kids grow and develop into strong thinkers. They understand that people of varying backgrounds can sometimes feel the same thing. A strong arts community benefits you. It makes your town stronger. It makes your community closer together. Words aren't needed to feel the same thing across cultures with a piece of music. Feelings don't have to be interpreted. This is a really wonderful thing you have going on here. And so I would just really like to encourage you, please, please continue to support your arts programs in your communities. It's an important thing that often falls by the wayside. And one more thing. Please remember to buy your season tickets for the Florida Memorial Auditorium's upcoming season. Box office opens for members only on July 22nd and the general public on July 29th. So we're going to finish up here with Irving Berlin's Songs for America. Irving Berlin is one of America's greatest songwriters. Born in Israel, Berlin in Imperial Russia. He immigrated to the United States at the age of 5. He gave our country some beautiful tunes despite that he could not read sheet music and barely played the piano. He aimed to capture the spirit of the American people in his lyrics. Some of his most popular tunes include Alexander's Ragtime Band, Easter Parade, Puttin' on the Ritz, Cheek to Cheek, White Christmas, anything you can do, I can do better. And there's no business like show business. Tonight's piece, Songs for America, includes the patriotic tunes of This is the Army, Mr. Jones, Give Me Your Tired, Your Poor, This is a Great Country, and certainly would not be complete without God Bless America. Enjoy.
Nicely done. Nicely done, Sue. Big hand for Sue. Fun to hear that, all those stories you were telling. Yeah, Chanhassen, 30 years ago, Fulda Community Players did Fiddler on the Roof, and they cast me as Tevye, imagine that, no beard and Scandinavian. But so I knew every word when we went to Chanhassen that the lead character was saying, and he didn't get anything wrong. It was great fun being up there, always is. Oh, well, I just want you to know the sky is blue out there tonight. However, this is a great place to have a concert, and the band members ribbed me a little bit about, I do brag about the fact that there's very few times where we've been rained out at the park. And because I think the good Lord and I have an understanding, but I don't know if I got it right this time. So, but this is a great place to play. And it is concert number 6. So next week will be 7, and then one more 8, and then all of a sudden, I hate to say it, but July is just going to be not there. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming in these luxurious seats in this great auditorium. And as Sue was saying, there's so many fun things that happen here throughout the year. Don't miss them. Sometimes they only get here once. So, and as is our tradition, we will be closing. I'm sorry, what a great flute trio we had. I meant to say that too. Thank you. Oh, good job. And with that, our tradition is America the Beautiful and the Star Spangled Banner. Drive safely. We'll see you next week.